Hello, people of Earth. It is I, Chris. Happy Friday. Some of you may have noticed that earlier there was a notice that went out because I accidentally said hit live on this chat unintentionally. So I had to delete this one and restart it, and it's a whole new one. Anyway, blah 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 blah. Not important. Sorry if there was if that was a false start for some of you. We are 2 days from my wife's birthday. We are 5 days from Christmas. What better way to celebrate a loved one than to give them a subscription to my Substack, my daily newsletter? Actually, I do think it would be a good gift. It's Cillizza.substack.com. If you haven't checked it out, please do. I think it's fun and good stuff. I'm writing every single day over there. Also, thank you for everyone who has subscribed to my YouTube channel. Thank you to people who have donated to the microphone fund. We have a new microphone, so this is your hard work in action, or your money in action. And let's get right to it. So for people who don't know, I do 4 to 6, 7, 8 videos a week. I also do 2 live streams a week, usually on Tuesdays and Fridays, always on Fridays, usually on Tuesday nights. I'm going to continue doing that, although I'm going to take a little bit of a break between now and the new year as I kind of, recoup and strategize. One note on here, if anyone can ask a question, and I will go through as many as I can and as many good ones as we have, I'll try to answer them in order. If you want to make a donation out of the kindness of your heart, to support me and what I'm doing, I will, you do it via the super chat feature there. If you do, I will bump your question up to the top and make sure it gets read. Again, I say this every time, but I'm going to repeat it this time. Donations are welcome, but not necessary. All right, let's get started. My friend Paul Robinson, who I actually just talked to, and who, by the way, paid for a big chunk of this microphone right here. Paul Robinson, signing up to Substack got me a one-on-one with Chris today. Well worth it if you haven't signed up yet. This is true. So if you sign up to become a paid subscriber on my Substack, which is $6 a month or $60 a year, I do a 15-minute Zoom with you, one-on-one. Paul and I literally just talked 40 minutes ago. So that's another incentive if you want to go over there and check it out. ChrisCillizza.substack.com. Okay, so Paul's question is this. Do you think that Democrats will get rid of the debt limit for Trump? Paul, I don't know that. It's totally fascinating to me that, and I made a video on this morning. It's totally fascinating to me that the debt ceiling was a thing that Republicans always cited as kind of like, we got to keep that because it's like a leverage point, a pinch point for us to get spending cuts, to get concessions on spending from Democrats. And then all of a sudden 2 days ago, or no, actually yesterday, Donald Trump was like, you know what? Let's get rid of the debt limit. And all these Republicans were like, that sounds good. I don't think they're going to get rid of it entirely. Although, Paul, I always say, who the hell knows in a situation like this, because they are scrambling to try to figure out what to do, right? Like they don't. Here's the plan C that Republicans have. There is no plan C. Like they're just trying to figure it all out as they go, because they're trying. The reality is there's going to be enough House Republicans who are going to vote against anything that increases the debt. And that's going to be this. They're going to vote against that, which means Mike Johnson's going to need Democratic votes to pass anything. But he also has to make Donald Trump happy on the other end of the spectrum. It's almost impossible, honestly. So I don't rule anything out, including getting rid of the debt limit, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I don't know. We're in a place in politics where I don't say definitely no almost ever. Let's keep going. Paul, thank you for all your donations and your support along the way, including this one. It's very much appreciated. Higgs115. Hey, Chris, do you still do meet and greets with new Substack subscribers? Yes. I mentioned this, but I'll mention it again. If you become a paid Substack subscriber, I will do a 15-minute one-on-one Zoom with you about whatever you want. Sometimes people have agendas. They have a bunch of questions they want to ask me. Sometimes people just want to chat. Yes, ChrisCillizza.substack.com. I absolutely will do that. Dan W. Dan, thank you for your donation. Dan says, first live chat in a few weeks. Keep up the good work. We need people like you now more than ever. College football prediction, go Irish. Okay, so my only hope is that UT Texas loses. I'm going to root for Tennessee because we have friends who are Tennessee fans, and the Aggies, Texas A&M, are not in it. So as long as Texas goes down, I'm okay, but then we'll see about Tennessee. Barnaby Jones. As I've said before, if Elon Musk was on your side rather than ours, you'd be swinging off his nuts, but he's not, so now he's evil. Gotta love the party of tolerance. Well, I'm not on any side, to be totally clear. And I don't have any issue with, I don't think Elon is evil at all. What I've said, and I would say this for Democrats too, is what Elon Musk is the richest man in the world who owns the political public square, X, who is an informal but very senior advisor to the incoming president of the United States. That's a dangerous potential combination, right? You have to be really responsible in order to make that not be a feather in your nest situation. But I'm not on a side, man. I know people love to do that. Dwight Baldwin. Dwight, thank you for your donation. Based on your video about Biden yesterday, would you call for him to step down from office? So if you missed this, and conservatives didn't miss it, I made a video yesterday where I said, you know what, given what we know now, in particular, these two stories, one in the Wall Street Journal on Thursday, one in the New York Times on Wednesday, it sure does look like I should have asked more questions of Joe Biden and his people about his physical and mental well-being during his term. I asked some. I will admit that I kind of got shamed into not asking more because they would always say, how could you? Ageism. Would I call on him to resign? I don't know if I'm the guy to call on him to resign. But I do think Democrats, there should be some reckoning among Democrats for the Biden advisors who kind of kept his condition from the public and worked to keep it from reporters as well. I really do believe that. Happy to take more questions on that. Jeffrey B. Jeffrey, thank you for your donation. Jeffrey says, do you think Trump is trying to force a shutdown to make the economy look worse when he takes office so it will look like he improved the economy more than he did? So, Jeffrey, my general thing with Trump is I don't think he's particularly strategic in that regard, especially long-term strategic. I think he kind of wants what he wants and thinks that he can blame Democrats and figures if we can get the debt ceiling pushed off for 2 years or get rid of it entirely, great, because then he doesn't have to deal with it from a political perspective. I don't think he cares about the debt and the deficit at all in any real way. I just think he doesn't want to deal with it because it's a giant political pain in the ass. So I don't think Trump is playing three-dimensional chess here. That's always my answer when people are do you think he's doing this to get that? I'm always I'm not seeing a lot of evidence of that. That's not to say he's dumb. I don't think he's dumb at all. I just don't think he's strategic in that way. I think he's more tactical than he is strategic. So he does this and see what's happened, then he does that and he adjusts. So that's my take. John Suda. John, thank you for your donation. John says, about Trump as a threat to democracy, you repeatedly express confidence in U.S. institutions. Fair, but how about Musk and the debt deal? How about ABC? Could Trump be a more indirect threat? Look, I don't think... Okay. I was not in the Donald Trump is America's Hitler, Donald Trump is going to end democracy, and I'm still not in that camp. In fact, I think the fact that Matt Gaetz got run out in 8 days as the attorney general nominee speaks to the fact that Republican senators aren't going to just do whatever Donald Trump says. I think the fact that 38 Republicans voted against a package to keep the government open that Donald Trump expressly supported suggests that House Republicans are not going to just abandon plenty of them will, but not all of them will abandon their principles, particularly on the debt ceiling, just because Donald Trump wants them to. So, like I said about Musk, I don't think Musk is evil at all. I think he's brilliant, actually. But I do think when you have the richest man in the world who has the ear of the president, who also controls the political public square, that requires a lot of responsibility. And I don't know that Musk gets that. Is that fair? That's what I would say. Let's see. Patrick Murray. How does it feel to have been featured on Fox and the New York Post this morning? I didn't know I was featured on Fox or the New York Post this morning. I assume it was about the Biden thing. I mean, again, what's so frustrating to me just about the Biden thing, I'm just trying to be as honest as I can and as transparent as I can. Like, we in the media did ask questions. I was particularly on here and on my Substack after I left CNN in 2022, pretty skeptical that Joe Biden was up to the job, but I should have done more. And it's amazing to me that the reaction among the right is like, you're lying. You're just doing this to cover your ass. Like, how? What? How? I don't even understand how that would work. But yeah, I mean, look, I just try to be as honest as I can with you all. And with people who consume my content over at Substack, or when I'm on TV with people who are watching on TV. You can't really control how people react to it. I felt like, having read that Wall Street Journal story, having read the Times story, and having spent a lot of time thinking about it and reading all the reporting after the June 27th debate, I wish I had pushed harder. I think I did push. I think we in the media did push, but I wish I had pushed harder. The hard thing is, you do that and then people question your motives. It's like, no, man, I'm just trying to be honest. Ben Thompson. Hey, Chris, let's say hypothetically Trump's term is a complete disaster and all the MAGA types aren't viable in 2028. Who is the best Republican nominee? Man, that would be tough. I mean, if that's not going to happen, even if Trump's term is a disaster, all the MAGA types, MAGA, never know, are not going to be non-viable. Okay, but let's say they were, Nikki Haley would be, I think, at the top of the list. Again, I don't think she's a top tier contender in 2028 because I just don't think the party wants that. But under your scenario, it would be like a Nikki Haley type. Christopher Swan. Christopher, great name, and thank you for the donation. Christopher's question is, do you think Mike Johnson can keep the speaker's gavel? And if not, who do you think is in the running? Man, I'm not optimistic for him. Right before I came on, I was looking at X, and there's a quote, Nicole Maliotakis, who's a pretty establishment Republican member from New York, not a bomb thrower at all, was basically like, the leadership doesn't communicate with us. Something needs to change. When that sentiment is going on among like rank and file, non-incendiary types like Nicole Maliotakis, I would be worried if I'm Mike Johnson. The other thing is they're going to have 220 seats, which means if Mike Johnson loses 5 votes for speaker, he's not speaker, right? He needs a simple majority. And Democrats are all going to vote for Hakeem Jeffries. So it's going to be 215 votes for Hakeem Jeffries, and we'll see how many votes for Mike Johnson. But Tom Massey of Kentucky has already said he's not going to vote for him. So I don't know. If Johnson can't keep it, look, I think they would probably – I think 2 people would try to get it. Steve Scalise of Louisiana, and Jim Jordan of Ohio. Both tried last time. Both did not succeed. I think they would try again. And I don't know if they'd be successful. I don't know that you'd want that job because I don't know how you would solve. Like, you have a 220 to 215 majority. I just don't know who could run that effectively. But Christopher, thank you for the question, and thank you very much for the donation. Human NC, do you think Trump might ban abortion by involving the Comstock Act? I do not. Jason Chris, following up on your mailbag answer regarding Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, shouldn't she distance herself from other members of the squad? She's the biggest talent of that group by far, of that group, and far less divisive than Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. Yeah, I think that AOC would do well to disband the squad. Jamal Bowman lost, Cori Bush lost, both members of the squad in this election. I think they would do well AOC would do well to kind of be like, hey, that was fun for a while, it lasted, but time to move on. Because I do think she has more talent than those people politically, and I think she's got bigger aspirations. Yeah, actually, I hadn't thought of that, Jason, but that's a really good idea. Alpha Buckeye, where is Joe Biden? How come he isn't president anymore? Well, he is president. Where is he? It's not a great look, right? I mean, I think that he is fading. And it is remarkable to me. This is a line in the New York Times piece from earlier this week, but there's a line in there that says, it's remarkable given where he is now that he and those around him thought he could be president for another 4 years. And I totally agree. I think part of it is he wants to stay out of this fight. Like, as long as Republicans are tearing themselves apart in the House, he's not going to involve himself. Neither are Senate Democrats. But remember, Joe Biden is still the president, and Democrats still do control the Senate. So he could have a role to play. He does not appear to want to have a role to play. I don't really know what to make of that. Adam Hartman, the mic already sounds much better. Okay, so is this an improvement? This mic is an improvement, we think? This is a Rode. I like it. It also has a screen so that my P's don't pop too much, but thank you. Ricardo Zatino going with just the basic, is the government shutting down? I'm going to say 50-50. Maybe slightly towards yes, even for a day or two, but maybe what they'll probably do, they're not, I don't think, going to find this comprehensive bill that funds the government for the next 3 months in the next 11 hours before it shuts down. I think they'll try to pass something to extend funding for a couple days so that they can continue to work on it. That would be my guess. Let's see. Matt Davidson. Hey, Matt, thank you so much for the donation. Matt asks this. As tight as the Republican majority is, what are the chances moderate GOPers might vote for Jeffries, if nothing else, for stability, giving him the gavel? I don't think they will do that, right? You're right, though. I mean, Hakeem Jeffries is 3 votes away from being the Speaker of the House come January 3rd when they vote on this, because he's going to have 215 Democrats who are going to be for him. So if he can get 3 Republicans to vote for him, he's the Speaker. I don't think that's going to happen, but for people who weren't on the very beginning of this chat, I said I don't rule anything in or out, and I don't rule anything in or out. I mean, when you're dealing with margins that small, to your point, who the hell knows? Thank you for the donation. Luke Elgin, Chris, do Americans realize that this whole subject of government shutdowns and legislated debt ceilings is entirely unique to the United States? No, they don't, because the Americans think that whatever they're doing is the best and the most interesting. And are not terribly aware of the rest of the world. So no, I don't think they realize that. True Tech, only live once, mind the con artists. Dominic Scafidi, you should throw an intro and outro on your videos like Steve Schmidt does on his show, The Warning. Dominic, tell me what you mean by that. I'm happy to. I mean, remember, my technical abilities on video production are roughly as high as this coffee cup, which is 0. But if there's stuff I can do, I'm happy to do it. So throw that in the chat. Urgy Lad, what do you think of Elon Musk being accused of killing the bill to keep the government open? I mean, is it a good or a bad for the country? I saw all your videos, but still don't know your opinion. Look, I think the way that this bill, which was going to spend tens of billions of dollars, came about was they didn't even have a text of it until Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday night. That's bad. Whatever you think is in the bill, like, people aren't going to be able to read this. They're not going to know what they're voting for. This is no way to run the country. So in that way, I kind of agree with Elon Musk. I don't really have a problem. I don't think anyone, Republican or Democrat, should say, yeah, this is definitely how we should spend billions of dollars, which is like no one sees the text of the bill except members of leadership, of the Republican leadership, until the last minute. And then you're just supposed to vote on it. Like, why should we do that? That's bad. So I don't really have an issue with that at all. Lewis Lloyd. Lewis, thank you for the donation, and in pounds, no less. Great show as always, Chris. This is Lewis. Great show as always, Chris. Curious about what you think of Keir Starmer and how you think he will get on with Trump. Hopefully it goes well, LOL. Lewis, here's my thought. I did a video earlier this week about how hard it is to be an incumbent or a governing party in the world right now. And one of the things that I was most struck by was the UK just kicked out the Tories, the Conservatives, right? Like 6 months ago. I may be wrong on my timing, but they just got rid of them, right? And Labour and Starmer, who's the head of Labour, gets moved in. So you're like, oh, okay, well, they got rid of the Conservatives. Now they got this guy. At least he's going to have some kind of honeymoon, right? Wrong, because I just saw a poll that shows that 61% of people disapprove of how Keir Starmer has handled the job, and 71% of people disapprove of the direction of the government. So, like, I think it's just a function of people don't like whoever's in power. People don't like, which may be a lesson for Donald Trump going forward once he becomes president. How will he get along with Trump? I don't know Starmer personally. Like, I don't know what his personal affect is. Trump likes strong people. We know that. or if they're authoritarian-leaning people. My guess is Starmer is not that, so maybe they won't get along particularly well. John Rudisell, love the chat with Van Jones last week, although I think you were both too quick to dismiss 2020 riots' impact on how January 6th is viewed. Also, guy in Viking hats are not in line of succession. Fair enough. John, I love that chat too with Van. I thought it was he was terrific. I'm going to do more of that. Let's see. 4 a.m. pizza. Hey, Chris, what is your guilty pleasure in life? Cinnabon for me. God, Cinnabon is so good, isn't it? Every time I'm at the airport, I'm like, my guilty pleasure in life is probably Chick-fil-A. I know it's bad for me, but it's so good. Tanner Wilson, here's another fun Substack article. How about comparing cartoon characters to different political figures? Well, where would we start? You tell me. Let's see. Hello there. Why does Donald Trump care so much about the debt limit? He could always just mint the coin. If anyone would break the norm, it would be him. I mean, I don't think he does care about the debt limit, to be totally clear. I think he would, he proposed getting rid of the debt limit. So I think if he could just get rid of it, he would. I don't think he cares at all. The problem is there's 40 Republicans in the House who care a lot. Matt Davidson. Matt, thank you for the donation. Again, Matt says, given the New York Times and Wall Street reporting on Biden, I think 28 presidential contenders like Pete Buttigieg and Kamala Harris are toast, given it's clear they were hiding or lying about Biden, putting the party and us in jeopardy. Thoughts? I mean, I think there has to be a reckoning for that, right? Like, there's no way that no one thought, maybe he shouldn't be president anymore. And he certainly shouldn't run again, right? Particularly, Kamala Harris said she never saw any signs of physical or mental decline. Given what we now know, that seems very, I mean, she would have to really be looking hard not to find it. So yeah, I do think there has to be some kind of reckoning. Like, everyone in that administration told us everything was perfectly fine. He was doing great. And how dare you ask about it? And it's now clear that that's not the case, right? So to me, there has to be some kind of reckoning with it. And people who want to be president, the Democratic nominee, should speak out about it, because it seems to me that they kind of tried to pull the wool over our eyes. Right? Let's see. Slippin' Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy. Thanks for the donation. Slippin' Jimmy says, do you think Elon's support was the biggest contributor to Trump's win? It's pretty unprecedented, the role he played as one guy. So he gave the most money that any single individual gave to either candidate. I think he gave like $270 million through a variety of like super PACs and all that sort of stuff. That's not insignificant. And I think Elon's brand, which is kind of like innovator, outsider, guy willing to go to unorthodox solutions, I think that'll help Trump at the margins. But the reason that Trump won is because of Trump. He has an appeal to candidates, to voters that other candidates don't. Martin Phil2 says, I think Elon Musk is dumb. Man, I just don't know how you could draw that conclusion. The guy disrupted the car industry and sort of, started the electric car revolution. The guy is involved in the space industry. The guy is the richest man in the world, which is not, I know, a direct corollary to being really smart, but he's a disruptor. And I think disruptors on that level are pretty powerful. Yeah. Michael says, you think the Dems would vote for the bill if there was no talk of a debt limit increase? I don't know, Michael. I think the debt limit thing is a little bit of an issue for them. I mean, I also think that the bill cut out a lot of the priorities that they care about. The first bill had a bunch of them. The second bill, which failed last night, cut out a lot of those things. So, there was no way in hell it was going to get 2/3 of the vote, which is what it needed to pass. So I don't know. I mean, I think Democrats are sort of like, what are you going to give us to vote for this? And I don't see that Republicans say anything at this point. By the way, folks, do me a favor, just thumbs this up. We've got almost 400 people on here, but only 70 likes. Let's improve that. And by the way, if you have questions, now is the time. Sorry, I'm scrolling. Gosh. Okay. Craig Vance says, Chris, the mic sounds great. That's great. What's the latest in the DNC chairmanship horse race? I see Ben Wickler and Rahm becoming active in various ways. So today, Craig, I think Ken Martin, who's the Minnesota party chair, I think he's the front runner. Now, I think if Rahm Emanuel gets into the race, and the fact that Rahm Emanuel wrote a op-ed in the Washington Post this week basically saying, here's what's wrong with Democratic messaging, makes me think he's going to run. If he runs, that could be more interesting. But today, I think Ken Martin's the favorite. Maxwell Feiner, do you think if Trump experiences a significant decline in his faculties, his team will do the same kind of cover-up as happened with Biden? Yes, they absolutely will. They'll certainly try. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to make that Biden video, is to say, I don't know if I missed it. I didn't get to the bottom of it I didn't figure it out as soon as I should have. Now, that was not because I'm some secret Democrat who wanted to get Joe Biden reelected. Just go look at my writing over the last 4 years. It's not that. But I think it will be, it will make it more, for me, I'm going to be more vigilant on that front, because Donald Trump is a 78-year-old man. If he serves a full 4-year term, he'll be the oldest person ever to have served in the White House. Patrick Murray, nice Eric B. and Rakim hat. Thank you, right there. Christopher, do you still watch CNN? Not really, but I don't really watch any cable. I just don't. I don't know. I don't find people yelling at each other particularly edifying. I'll go on sometimes if it's a segment that I think makes sense for me, and so like I do News Nation fairly frequently. I went on with Mick Mulvaney, who I really like, former South Carolina congressman. He was a Trump chief of staff, reasonable, conservative, reasonable, thoughtful, intelligent. Like, I'm happy to go on with those people. I'm not going to go on just like get in a shouting match or try to be like, you're the liberal voice in this, or you're the conservative voice. I don't really like that. Stefano T. Hey, Chris, do you think the GOP should have had a different nominee this year? It's kind of hard to argue they should have, in that he won, Stefano. Yeah. PK Olson 1. Did you sneak the old mic back into CNN headquarters? Did they miss it? No, it's sitting right over there. I don't think they really need it back. Fun fact, I have not been back to CNN since they laid me off, so more than 2 years. Yeah. Let's see. They call me Blake. It looks like YouTube is blocking live streams from users who use ad blockers. Not that I would block ads when watching this channel, of course. Dude, I don't know about any of that. But don't block the ads. Just let them run for 20 seconds. You're supporting me broadly making a living. Let's see. Tanner Wilson. I've mentioned Canada and Germany, but is there an underrated election around the world we should be paying more attention to in 2025? I don't know about around the world. I'm paying attention to the Virginia and New Jersey governor's races. Let's just see. If Republicans win both of those, something is happening in the country. If Democrats win both of those, I think all this panic about the Democratic brand will lessen a little bit. So those are the ones I'm watching. Tanner, I'll keep an eye on around the world. I don't know. Sock Taters. If Hakeem Jeffries can't win, why don't Dems vote for whichever Republican candidate they like best, hate least? Well, because even if, so you're saying like have 215 Democrats vote for some moderate Republican, they're not going to do that. They're going to vote for Hakeem Jeffries. And even if they did, Republicans would probably organize to not allow that person to get a majority because they want to pick their speaker. But it's actually kind of an interesting theory. Jeffrey DeSoto, if there's no speaker on January 6th, can the election certification go forward? Yes, because there would be someone nominated as an interim speaker. There wouldn't be no speaker. Remember, when Kevin McCarthy got kicked out, Patrick McHenry from North Carolina stepped in because McCarthy had to make a list of people who could replace him if he was removed. So Johnson, I'm sure, has a list of people who could replace him if he's removed. So that person would wind up, I think, doing that. That would be playing that role. You snooze, you news. What's up with the drones? I don't think anything. I mean, the government came out and said, like, it's not anything. We'll see. But I don't know if this is actually like there's more of them, or all of a sudden people started to notice them and now everyone's noticing them, even though they were there before. I honestly don't know. Chris Vetter, happy Friday. will the 30th GOP House members really be punished by Trump? Who will remember this moment 23 months from now? Yeah, so Trump is saying, like, we're going to primary these people. I don't know that he will. Maybe Chip Roy. He tries to find a primary. Chip Roy is the guy from Texas who's kind of the most high profile of the people opposing the increase in the debt limit or getting rid of the debt limit. Maybe one or two of them. But yeah, I agree. 23 months is a really long time in politics and everything else. Geold, Mr. Cillian. Greetings. Love your content. Who the hell is Mr. Cillian? Which of Trump's cabinet picks will not be confirmed? History suggests 2, maybe 3 of the initial picks of any president for cabinet jobs don't make it. We have 1, Matt Gaetz. I'm still, if I had to pick among the next likeliest suspects, which would be Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, and RFK Jr., I still think Hegseth is the one most likely to not make it. Maybe that's about a 50-50 proposition right now. So Barry Riley, the mic is much better. You would fade in and out before. So Barry, if I'm over here or over here, you can hear me okay? I mean, one thing that's easier is the mic is like right in front of, it's not like huge, so I can put it right in front of the screen. Yeah. Okay. If so, great. Kyle Ton says, new mic may need some settings checked. Sound isn't quite as good as old mic. Let's see. Alan Kress. When are you going on the Chris Cuomo project? Can we expect an update on the calf size debate? I love Cuomo. I got to figure out. I got to figure out how to do more with him. He's the best. He's such a good guy. And he just re-upped with News Nation. I saw. Trinity Bryan, Chris. I consider this election lost to a misinformed class, not a working class. I don't think that's true. I mean, I know that the overarching liberal kind of reaction to this is, well, a bunch of people who don't know what they're don't really follow politics decided this election. I'm not sure that's true. The idea that you can only be a good voter if you're like deeply versed in every issue for both candidates, almost no one is a good voter if that's the model, if that's the bar. I think people had a gut sense of what they wanted, and that gut sense was Trump. Let's see. Use News, You News. You could open videos with "Welcome to Talking Shizza with Chris Cillizza." Yeah, that's a great idea. Oh, Crown Blade. With Shadow President Musk wielding as much power as he does at the moment, will he be able to choose influence who becomes speaker in any significant way? I don't. Well, I mean, I think if he comes out and says like Mike Johnson shouldn't be speaker and spends 150 tweets on it, that would be problematic for Mike Johnson. Would he be able to like get Jim Jordan the votes to be speaker? I guess I'm more skeptical about that, but I think he could definitely. I mean, he's shown he can rally kind of public opinion on the right against things. I don't know if he could get someone elected speaker though. They call me Blake. Don't you think you jumped too quickly from "I'm sorry for not doing good reporting on Biden's health" to "Biden isn't capable of being president" in your recent video? I guess I didn't mean to suggest that Biden isn't capable of being president in that video, but I did. I do think that there is more mental and physical decline than his campaign in the White House led on for months and months and months. That doesn't mean I think he has good days and he has bad days, which doesn't mean he can't be president. But I think that's an important thing that the public needed to know more about, and that they went out of their way to keep that from the public. So I don't know whether he's capable of being president or not at the moment, to be totally honest. It's not like I'm a doctor who has examined him. But I just think it would have been better for democracy had we known more about his condition, rather about sort of his day-to-day than we did. Jeffrey W1, do you think AI will be used by politicians to portray their persona like Al Yoon? I don't know Al Yoon. I don't know about that. I mean, I think there are so many use cases for AI. One example, I use captions.ai to take these long videos and chop it up into short things that I can share on TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels. I feel like there's a zillion things like that I don't even know about. But I don't know about I don't know about impersonating or being politicians. Michael Stravelli, intro, screen with a countdown to live stream. So the start with So the start with your name and logo and some very basic animation so it doesn't look frozen. Okay, I don't know how to do that. Michael, if you have ideas or people or websites that you can point me to, that would be great. Nils, because I agree with you, I think that'd be good. Nils Lindenblad, if a Supreme Court opening occurred now, would Biden have enough time to get it through before January 20th? Man, that would be a huge fight. I think Democrats would try. Yeah, I don't know if it would work, but they would try. And they do control the Senate. A low robot, who do you think might put a primary fight against J.D. Vance in 28, if anyone? I don't think he'll have the race to himself. I think some combo of Ted Cruz, Tom Cotton, Josh Hawley, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, maybe who else could be in that mix? Haley. I don't think he'll have an uncontested march to the nomination, I guess. Let's see. Clads, there wasn't a reckoning with Reagan. George H.W. won. We didn't know about how bad Reagan's mental memory issues were in the 1988 campaign. We didn't find that out until much later. That's my thought, at least, Clads. Let's see. Dwight Baldwin. Dwight, thank you for your donation. Dwight says, what's my favorite Christmas movie? Christmas Story is probably number one. Love that movie. So many good scenes in there. I really like Christmas Vacation, National Lampoons. Die Hard, Christmas movie. Those are the ones that jump out to me, at least at the moment. Hold on, I'm scrolling through. Sorry. Let's see. A ham sandwich. How likely do you think it is that a U.S. Bitcoin strategic reserve becomes a thing? I do not know enough about crypto and Bitcoin. I really don't. I need to know more, admittedly. So I don't know. Don't eat chapstick. That's good advice. Can you expand on your apology for not covering Biden's mental decline? I've talked about this, but it's not covering it. Again, I wish that both sides wouldn't weaponize attempted sort of like honesty and authenticity, which is what that's the place I'm trying to come from, into like, you never covered it and you're a Democrat, or how dare you question Joe Biden? Like, that's not what I'm about. I did cover it, particularly in 2023 and 2024 as the campaign ramped up. I wrote about it regularly. Go ask the liberal commenters who are on my Substack at times who have harangued me for how much I wrote about Joe Biden and his mental and physical health and well-being. What I was saying was, I wish that I had pushed harder. I sort of took the assertions from people close to him, people who knew him, people who had spent time with him, their assertions that everything was totally fine. I took those too much at face value. I should have kept pushing. I shouldn't have. I assumed they would not actively work to cover up slippage. And it seems, based on the reporting I've read over the last 6 months, that there was some of that he was being very carefully managed and protected. And we saw some of that, honestly. Like, he didn't really do press conferences. He really didn't do media interviews. He didn't it was obvious that they were trying to protect him, but some of that is, okay, he's never been great with the media and he's this 80-year-old man, which is one thing. And then there is, okay, well, is he actually in real physical and or mental decline? And that's another level that I think is really important. And so it's not that I think I didn't do it or the media didn't do it. I just think we could have done more. We could have done more and asked more questions and not allowed, at least me, not allowed myself to be shamed by Biden people about how dare you ask those questions of him. That's, I guess, what I would say. Let's see. August Brante. President Musk only goes in one ear and out the other ear. But it's funny you think you can put a wedge between Musk and Trump. Thanks for the laugh. I'm not trying to put a wedge between Musk and Trump. I don't understand. Like, dude, I am trying to be an independent, honest, transparent, authentic observer of American politics and a little bit of international politics. I'm not trying to drive a wedge. I'm not rooting for this. I'm not rooting for that. I know that's hard for partisans to accept, but I'm just not. Like, I'm not bad-mouthing Elon Musk. Anyway, Ed Monroe. Thinking about watching House of Cards. Why don't you like that one? Also glad to see a fellow Veep lover. Veep love most underrated show. I also heard it shockingly accurate to how U.S. politics actually are. It is. I always say Veep is much more accurate than West Wing or House of Cards. I'm not a House of Cards fan because I just think it's like so ridiculous. The reporter characters, particularly of women, are like I think embarrassingly shallow. So I'm not a fan of it. But I know lots of people who like it. Matt Davidson, what's your opinion of David Hogg running for Democratic vice chair? I think he'd be better served running for a state Senate seat or a congressional seat. Thoughts? Yeah, I don't know. I know a lot of conservatives hate him. I know a lot of liberals love him. I don't really have a David Hogg opinion. I don't know that as the vice chair of the DNC can do much of anything. So Robert New York, anything on Whoopi Goldberg and what she said? Robert, I don't know what she said, but fill me in. Michael Gates, AOC versus the Democratic establishment. Who would you bet on? I think that AOC has a ton of talent politically. The question is, where does she deploy it? I think the House is going to be a little bit of a dead end because the establishment and the Democratic Party still has serious power in the House. So I don't know that that's going to be the venue. I just don't know what the venue is. I'm sort of interested to find that out. Brad David. Brad, thank you for the donation. How often would you talk with Jeff Zucker when you were at CNN? So Jeff Zucker was the head of CNN. In person, almost never. He was in New York as I was in DC. Email, once every other week, he would send me like, hey, I like that piece. I mean, I guess that's not talking, but Jeff was like involved in that stuff. He'd be like, hey, I like that piece you wrote, or hey, good TV hit. It was always after the fact. It was never like you should do X thing, really. Occasionally he'd be like, I think you missed this point or that point. But I mean, he never like, I know people think that this stuff happens. It never happened to me. He never was like, you can't write this, or he never did anything like that. Mostly it was like, hey, I like this. Thanks for doing it. Let's see. Udon Soup 777. Love the new mic. Okay. Question, what are the differences between the Government Accountability Office versus DOGE? Well, the Government Accountability Office, as far as I know, is mostly doing like research into various things that Congress wants to do. I don't totally know. DOGE would be new and would be kind of like a supercharged way to cut out waste and inefficiency in the government. Let's see. Matt Davidson, what is your opinion of the circus over at the Young Turks? I don't know what the circus is over at the Young Turks. I'm sorry. Barry Riley, you have to admit the Democratic strategy of how dare you worked. It did at some level. I think the shame thing did work. The you're an ageist. Why are you asking these questions? It's unfair to him. I think it did work at some level. I think you made me at least be like, oh, mate, is that the wrong question to ask? Like, oh, yeah. Mark a lot says YouTube Premium. I don't know what that's in regards to. Eric Wood said YouTube Premium is the subscription I get the most use out of by far. Interesting. Some people have suggested I make YouTube Premium, like I set that up and do extra videos or like other stuff. Number one, would you guys be interested in that? Number two, what if you were to sign up for YouTube Premium for me, what would you want to see out of YouTube Premium? You can always comment, but you can also email me, CILLIZZAC@gmail.com. Joanne Elizabeth says, keep Marjorie Taylor Greene out of the speaker's position. Marjorie Taylor Greene is not going to be the Speaker of the House. Matt Davidson, by the way, thank you for the donation. Fill me in on the Young Turks thing. I don't know. Jay Moo. Pundits such as Anthony Scaramucci have pointed out that Trump's ego will hamper any kind of disruption Elon Musk could cause due to the attention he's get. Do you draw a similar conclusion? Yeah, I do. Look, I said this in my mailbag thing that I just posted over at Substack. This is like two piranhas in a bowl. It's not going to end well. They're too egotistical. They're used to being in charge. They're not going to play well forever. It's just going to. It's just a question of when. Eric Wood said the sound is really good. Okay. Barry Riley says yes, which I assume means that it's good. True Tech said this mic sounds clear. That's good. Chippy P. Chris got his talking points this morning. Again, I don't understand. Maybe I'm just naive, but like, I don't have talking points. I'm not of a party. I'm not rooting for one side or the other. It's just not who I am. I don't know how to prove that. Like, I guess you could come and hang out in my home office. It'd be super boring, but there's no like secret agenda. It's just me doing this the best that I can. Shabbat Springfield, what are the process of you getting laid off? How did they let you know exactly? Oh, thank you for asking me to relive that moment. Simple. I got an email from Sam Feist, who at the time was the bureau chief. He's now the head of C-SPAN, but he was the bureau chief of CNN. That included my direct boss, a woman named Rachel Smokin, who no longer works there, and the head of HR, who I didn't even know who the hell it was. I forwarded it to my agents, and I was like, what is this? And they were like, you're probably getting laid off. I went in, that email was like, can you please come in for a meeting? I went in for the meeting. They were like, you probably know what's coming. You're getting laid off. Here's the situation. The end. It's not great. Let's see. Levi says, bro, I have good days and bad days, and I'm only 45. Totally. So do I, and I'm 48. But you know what? Me or you isn't Levi? The President of the United States. Let's see. Oh, shoot. I just jumped. Sorry. I just jumped a bunch of questions. I'm going back. I'm scrolling. Robert, New York. Robert, thank you for the donation. Robert says, thank you for all you do. Good stuff. Trump thrives in situations like this. He's in control. How does the bill go from 1,500 pages to 136? Yeah, because they tried to stuff everything under the sun into the bill. This is what politicians do. They try to get money for their pet projects. They try to get money, federal money, for things that will help them get reelected. That is a very bipartisan thing, big time. Let's see. Harrison and Derek Show says, I think the mic sounds fine. Okay, good. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through. Chris Vetter, what do you see as the future of Morning Joe and Mika? Will their audience come back? Should MSNBC move on? I mean, cable news' audience, and I think this is true with Fox too, is in a long-term decline. Fox's audience, by the way, is much bigger than MSNBC or CNN, but it is over time declining. I think that will continue. I just, to me, it's like there's not like a person or persons who you're going to hire or fire who are going to suddenly change the trajectory of how people consume content. And I think cable television is a dying medium in that regard. Let's see. Little Robot, Tom Cotton running for president. Could you elaborate? Because he definitely seems out of step with the base on some big things. What is he out of step with the base on? I mean, he's a pretty down-the-line conservative guy who's aligned with Trump. I definitely think he's going to run for president. Pascal Boulevard, hi from Switzerland. Hello. How come the fact that Trump picked several men with toxic relations to women, which is one of his issues, isn't at the top of conversations? Because, first of all, it is. Hegseth, for example, I mean, that's been one of the big conversations. And then because I think Americans don't seem to be particularly bothered by that. I know. Look, I don't know. But it's just, it was not disqualifying for Donald Trump. I guess we can say that much. We'll see if it's disqualifying for other people. But it was not disqualifying for Donald Trump. Don't Eat Chapstick says, thank you for the reply. I appreciate the honesty. I try, man. That's all I'm trying to do. Sean Rice, what is the best news network to get unbiased news? Man, that's kind of a loaded question because like one man's unbiased is another man's biased. I think News Nation, I mean, none of these people pay me, by the way, to go on television. So I don't take any money from any of them. I think News Nation is trying to be in the center as much as they can. I think CNN is trying to move more to the center. But it honestly, it's so hard for me because these are big organizations. And it's like, I don't know everybody in those organizations. Like I know for me, I'm trying to shoot down the center. Like to me, the best places to consume news are increasingly independent content creators, because it's like, I know me, where I get my backing, I can be transparent, I can be honest. It's harder for me to be like, oh, this gigantic news organization is totally unbiased, because there's probably someone there who is. Let's see, WG Agency. The establishment always wins in the Democratic Party. It does often win in the Democratic Party. I totally agree. Like, look, that's how we got Joe Biden in 2020, right? Bernie Sanders was kind of running this campaign that I thought was going to be a winner, and Biden wound up winning. Let's see. Ren Holderm. GAO audits the government. You're thinking the Congressional Research Service. Yes, okay. The GAO, thank you. I am thinking of the Congressional Research Service. The GAO audits the government, which is different than like Doge, which would be recommending strong, recommending cuts to the government. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yaha, who said they're eating the dogs? Abraham Lincoln or Thomas Jefferson? Oh, Marcolot says, YouTube Premium kills ads for users, not membership. So I guess I couldn't really create a YouTube Premium tier then, right? Like that wouldn't be a thing. You can either be YouTube Premium. It's like Spotify. You can either pay for it and you get it ad free, or you get it free and you get ads. Is that how it works? Cenk is leaning to the right wing. Is that the issue with I know Cenk over at Young Turks said something like a week or two ago about how he wants to be part of Doge. Is that the issue? Mark Daly, during the two debates we had before our election, Simon Harris started to mutter under his breath and looked like he was trying to undercut everyone else. Michael, Chris, positive question. What's a Christmas event or tradition you were looking forward to? I always love opening presents. I also love, we're going to be in Texas, and I love going to Babe's, which is an incredible food place. I mean, incredible. Get me the chicken fried steak. DB triggers maggots, but a handle. Thank you for the donation. Just need to admit I was wrong about Trump losing and leaving the country. I underestimated how many deplorables are on the U.S. My bad. I mean, that feels like only kind of an apology, but okay. Hold on. Sorry, I'm scrolling. I'm trying to get to as many as we can. UV Zalco, love your content. What's your most favorite and least current thing about your current gig? Most favorite is the freedom. I can kind of say and do whatever I want and like try new things and try to innovate. That's fun. Least favorite, just the uncertainty of it all. You know, it's like I don't make a salary, so it's like I'm not always sure how much is coming in or how much is going out. And it's a little bit, I don't have someone who's like helping me with strategy on all this. So I'm kind of just figuring out as I go. And that's challenging too. It's not bad, but it's definitely challenging. Jack says, Chris, have you read any of the comments regarding the media living in your Acela bubble? Yeah, I'm familiar with that. Let's see. John Suda, could the MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, etc., reinvent themselves by switching to another medium if cable television is dying? I mean, to me, you gotta have a big digital presence, but on TV, like I think they should do more stuff that looks like this. Maybe not this, but like more stuff that feels informal, more stuff that feels real, more stuff that feels authentic, more stuff that feels like a podcast as opposed to like three guests and like we're gonna ask this one this question, then they respond, and then we kind of ignore that and we ask this one, and we ask this one. Like it's not a conversation, and to the extent it is a conversation, they just yell at each other. I don't think that's what people want. I really don't. Payradu, does America deserve to exist? Tune in to CNN for both sides of the conversation. We'll be right back. Jack, I've commented at least a dozen times on your videos and lessons are never learned. By me or by people in general? Just, yeah. Dandor3 says, when I look for unbiased media, I look to the BBC. No dog in the fight. Fair enough. Yves Neidlinger, do your sons watch all your videos? No, they don't watch any of my videos. Shoot. Sorry, I keep losing my place. Sean Rice. Sean, thank you for the donation. And Sean says, thanks for answering our questions. I'm happy to do it. I really enjoy this, like totally. XPFC Wintergreen. Hey, Chris, I think you should make a weekly podcast where you replay the audio of your daily post, just add some interstitials and outros. Yeah, I struggle with the the technical piece of that because people are like, just add some interstitials and outros. Not really great at that. Let's see. Just scrolling, trying to make sure I don't miss people. Mark Lott says premium membership is a good idea, but sadly YouTube is not interested. Okay, interesting. Okay, I did not know that. H, are you taking next week off? I am taking next week off. This will be the last live stream until, I don't know. Stay tuned. A week, December 20th. Maybe next Friday I'll do one, depending on kind of where I am. Maybe next Friday, but definitely not next Tuesday. Pascal Bolivar, thank you for your amazing work. No problem, man. And thank you for calling it amazing. Let's see. Thomas Zampino says, come on, people, hit the like button, support Chris. Yes, please. Please do. Let's see. Oh, the Acela bubble, for people asking. It's basically like Acela is the high-end Amtrak service that runs between DC and Boston. Really DC, New York, but also DC and Boston. It's kind of like the slang for how people describe reporters who are like coastal elites who like watch Morning Joe. It's kind of like it's that, if that makes sense. Doug H. Doug, thank you for the incredibly kind donation. Hopefully a fun question. Name your top 5 bands if you have the opportunity to make your own music festival outside of Jason Isbell. Also have a great holiday. All right, so Jason Isbell obviously would be in there. Who do let me look. Hold on. I'm going to pull up my Spotify. Okay, so this is a little bit recency biased because it's kind of like, what have I been listening to lately? But if I pull up my Spotify, I love the Father John Misty record, Mahash Mashana. It's one I've listened to an absolute ton. I love the new Cure album, Songs of a Lost World. Let me see what else I've listened to recently that I really like. I've listened to a lot of American football. I've listened to a lot of Bob Dylan. A lot of Phoebe Bridgers lately. These are not new necessarily. More Bob Dylan. Just looking through what I've been listening to. MJ Lenderman, Fontaine's DC, American Aquarium. Just a quick on American Aquarium. The album is called The Fear of Standing Still. It's a great album. It hasn't made almost anybody, music critics, top 10, but I love it, or top 20 or top 50 or whatever, but I love it. So that's just some of them. I hope, Doug, I hope that answers your question at least a little bit. And thank you so much for the kind donation. DB, thank you for the donation. Will Trump's little Johnson get the government funded by midnight, or will President Musk shut it down? DB, you are a terrific troll. I would say 50-50. I honestly don't know which way it's going to go. Nils Lindeblad, I wish I could hit the like button multiple times. Me too, my friend. Me too. Dwight Baldwin, first of all, Dwight, thank you for your donation. And I think this is a really important point. A precursor to podcasting was Don Imus's show on MSNBC. I totally agree. It was like live telecast. Totally agree. I think that's really smart. Chris, where do we go from here? Well, I go to the mall to buy my wife Christmas birthday presents because her birthday is Sunday and I haven't bought her anything. And yes, I'm going to the mall on December 20th. Trisha, Biden just did an interview on Midas Touch. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that it was very friendly. You Snooze, You News. Have you been on the Hill or Breaking Point? So Breaking Points is Crystal Ball's thing, right? I haven't. Always be happy to go on, but I haven't been. John Suda, what do you think of CBC? I know you're an occasional guest. I like Canadian broadcasting. I'm pro. Yeah, I really enjoy them. Let's see. Michael, gotta go, Chris. Have a happy Christmas. You too, my friend. Let's see. PK Olson, am I going to a complete unknown next week, which is the Dylan movie? I don't know if I'm going to have time. Got a pretty busy day. I got to go to Bed Bath & Beyond. No, but I don't know if I'm going to have time. But if I do, yes, I absolutely want to see it. Tanner Wilson, is that the Babe's Fried Chicken you mentioned in Carrollton, Texas, just north of Dallas? I live not far from there and go past it all the time. Yes, it's incredible. There's a bunch, but one is definitely in Carrollton. There are several in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They are amazing. If you have not gone, go. Later, happy holidays, maggots. DB, thanks for the donation. Jason Sherman, you mentioned you want the Almanac of American Politics for Christmas. How do we get them to you? Just email me. I'm not going to tell you my home address on here, but just email me, cillizzac@gmail.com, and we'll talk. I would love it. Yeah, if you want to buy me a Christmas present, I'm trying to get a full set of these bad boys. So they make one. Hold on, where's the camera? They make one every 2 years from 1972 to 2024. So I have like 6 or 8 years. I used to have almost every one, and then CNN let me go, and I could never find all my old almanacs again. So it's kind of a bummer. Chris Petro Negro, does your wife insist on both birthday and Christmas gifts, or do you do an all-in-one thing praying for you? Dude, you think I do an all-in-one thing? Like, I just am like to my wife, like, yeah, your birthday's coming up. It's right by Christmas, so we're just going to lump it all in together. Now, I'm still married, not divorced. Levi $1 Cheese says, I knew a chick named Cristobal, and I kid you not, she sold meth. Okay. Oh, Phototronica says I could do the Amazon wish list thing for the Almanacs of American Politics. That's a really good idea. Hosru, very happy to be a Substack subscriber. Chris, Happy New Year. Thank you. Again, if you want to check it out, chriscillizza.substack.com. Let's see. I think that's about it. Everyone who has supported me this year, thank you again. I might do one more live stream before the end of the year, but stay tuned. Become a subscriber to this channel so that you see if I do. You get alerted to it. But please, I'm going to be making I'm making more and more video content. I'm going to continue to make more and more, do more live streams, do more of all this stuff. So please, if you are interested in politics, if you like me, please, number one, subscribe to the channel. Number two, hit that thumbs up button as much as you possibly can. And number three, tell people about what I'm doing here. I need you to, you guys are my evangelists. I need you to spread the word. All right, everybody, take care of yourselves. Be well. And I hope you have a very Merry Christmas, and you get to spend it with friends and family, or friends or family, whatever makes you the happiest. Take care.